For nearly 80 years, the United States and Europe have formed the core of global power, an alliance that rebuilt a devastated continent, structured the most powerful military pact on the planet, and sustained what many call the liberal international order. Together, they shaped the financial system, multilateral institutions, global trade rules, and much of the architecture that organized the post-World War II world. But in recent years, something has begun to shift. Not through dramatic announcements, not through official declarations of rupture, but through signals. Europe is speaking more frequently about strategic autonomy. The United States is implementing industrial policies that directly affect European companies. Differences are emerging over China, energy security, defense spending, and long-term geopolitical priorities. We are not talking about a formal breakup, but we are talking about adjustments. And when adjustments happen inside the most powerful alliance in the world, it is worth paying attention. To understand the present, we need to remember what brought both sides of the Atlantic together in the first place. After 1945, Europe was economically shattered and politically fragile. The United States did not just finance reconstruction through the Marshall Plan. It helped design a broader security architecture that eventually led to the creation of NATO. During the Cold War, the Soviet threat functioned as a powerful unifying force. The adversary was clear. The objective was shared. There were disagreements, of course. Diplomatic crises emerged, trade disputes surfaced, but none of them fundamentally threatened the backbone of the alliance. Even after the collapse of the Soviet Union, the partnership remained solid. The United States continued as the primary security guarantor. Europe deepened its economic integration, consolidated the European Union, and expanded its regulatory influence across global markets. It was an asymmetrical relationship, but it worked, and for decades it was largely unquestioned. However, the international landscape has changed. The rise of China, the return of great power competition, energy shocks, regional instability, and rapid technological transformation have created a far more complex environment. In this context, Europe has started to ask a strategic question: how dependent should it remain on American protection and leadership? The concept of strategic autonomy has gained traction within the European Union. It involves strengthening Europe's own defense industry, investing in domestic technological capacity, reducing critical supply chain dependencies, and ensuring greater energy sovereignty. Officially, this is not about replacing the United States, it is about reducing vulnerability. The war in Ukraine reinforced the importance of NATO and highlighted the short-term necessity of American military capabilities. At the same time, it exposed how heavily Europe still relies on U.S. intelligence, logistics, and advanced weapons systems. This reality produced two parallel dynamics. On one side, a visible Western unity. On the other, a quieter strategic reflection about long-term balance. Economic tensions have also surfaced. Industrial policies in Washington designed to boost key American sectors have raised concerns in several European capitals. Some companies are reconsidering where to invest, attracted by U.S. incentives and subsidies. In response, European leaders are debating their own industrial strategies to protect competitiveness and technological leadership. This is not an open trade war, but it is a reminder that even close allies compete for economic advantage. Another sensitive issue is China. The United States has adopted a more structured and confrontational approach toward Beijing. Europe shares security concerns, yet maintains deep commercial ties with the Chinese market. Some European governments favor closer alignment with Washington's tougher stance. Others advocate for a more pragmatic and calibrated strategy.
These differences do not break the alliance, but they introduce nuance, friction, and strategic ambiguity. Domestic politics on both sides of the Atlantic further complicate the equation. Debates over sovereignty, identity, defense spending, and economic priorities increasingly influence foreign policy choices. In democratic systems, electoral cycles also affect strategic predictability. All of this contributes to a more fluid and less automatic partnership. Still, it is important to avoid alarmism. Alliances of this magnitude do not dissolve overnight. Economic interdependence between the United States and Europe remains profound. Military cooperation continues at an intense level. NATO is not only active, it has expanded. Multilateral institutions still operate with decisive transatlantic participation. What we may be witnessing is not a rupture, but a recalibration, a gradual shift from a clearly US-led structure towards a slightly more balanced arrangement in which Europe seeks greater agency. In an increasingly multipolar world, such a recalibration may be inevitable. The central question may not be whether Europe is drifting away from the United States. The deeper question is how this alliance is adapting to mounting global pressures. If Europe strengthens its autonomy, the Western Bloc could become more resilient and less dependent on a single center of power. But if strategic differences are poorly managed, deeper tensions could emerge over time. What seems clear is that the order built after 1945 has not disappeared, yet it no longer operates exactly as it once did. And when the pillars of an international order begin to adjust, it often signals broader systemic transformation. The transatlantic alliance remains one of the central axes of global politics. The real question is this: are we witnessing a technical adjustment within a durable partnership, or the early stages of a new chapter in the history of the West?